Jamie's what is it, ASMR? Where you hear, but it's walking. You like if you're into walking sounds on paper in a building. Okay, so I just felt compelled. I wanted to something that's been on my mind, and so I think this is probably going to be towards Calvinists, but not necessarily, I suppose. But I want to say something. If your theology makes you feel guilty for being born, you should stop believing that. You are not guilty for being born. You're not born guilty, and you didn't do anything wrong by existing. And God, you can't know real mercy and forgiveness if you think so it's got like two ends of that spectrum are bad. One, you can't really understand your guilt properly if you think it's a matter of being born that way. And two, you're going to possibly hate yourself or in the wrong kind of way, as though your existence was a bad thing. You are not born guilty. That's retarded. I don't care how brilliant Augustine is. I don't care how early kids go estranged. I don't care if kids can be charged with a sin. You are not guilty if you are a little kid for crying because you're helpless. That is dumb. Babies are innocent. And by the way, Calvinists, let's go through the scenarios with predestination and Calvinist version. Let's go with it. Let's go through these. Okay, so babies that are aborted are either all saved, all lost, or a mixture. Let's consider the different scenarios. If they're all saved, then that means God, putting aside that you guys actually ultimately argue in such a way that everything is determined by God, in a too strong of a sense, but let's just let's pretend like that isn't bumping into us as we talk about this. Here's the problem. This is an internal critique, so I'm assuming the Calvinist position, and I'll try to consider the various positions that I've heard. But look, okay, so let's consider all babies that are aborted are saved, which I would argue that is the truth, okay? Stepping out of the internal critique for a moment. It seems like that has to be true. I'm not going to make an argument for it right now, but I think that's right. Okay, there are issues there too, but okay, so if it's true that all babies are saved under a Calvinist model, that means God elected every abortion to happen. And he gave electing atonement or grace for that child. Okay? Why is God determining abortion when we all know that it's right to be against it? Makes no sense. Okay? If all babies are saved under a Calvinist, that means God actually, in what way can you say God didn't want that? God determined it. He made it so they're going to heaven. So God determined every aborted baby so that they go to heaven. Something doesn't feel right, does it? Doesn't make any sense. If he's putting aside that he determines everything, really, but this is like, it's like some babies that go to become adults, he didn't elect, but all the ones that he determined to be aborted are saved. Well, the answer is probably right. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's consider all of them are lost. That actually makes the most sense. But then you'd be like, well, why are we really against it then? Oh, are you saying they could have had a separate, different outcome? I don't even know why you guys are against abortion, to be honest. If you're consistent with the things you say otherwise that have a bearing on this, that you say in other areas. Yeah, no, but there's only one possible outcome. There's only one possible reality, and it's what God determined. Okay, then every aborted baby was determined by God. Whatever you do, that was determined by God. Whatever you refrain from doing, that was also determined. So as you choose to do it that way. It's always the case that was what God wanted. Okay. Why else would God let them be aborted when he's determined everything? Maybe that's just a way of keeping the population down. Better that they just don't even experience a life that has them ending up in hell. Okay, now let's consider a mixed bag. Some go to heaven, some go to hell. It's just arbitrary, like election would appear to be from our perspective. Okay. That seems weird. Seems weird for God to determine any baby to be aborted, doesn't it? So, if it's a mixed bag, it's just a mystery, right? Why does God need babies to determine babies to die anyway, if he's determining everything? And why would any of them go to hell? They didn't do anything. Oh yeah, that's right. They're guilty because they're born. Well, vipers and diapers, doomed from the womb. I guess it's really not that bad. They were determined to be, the ones that go to hell were determined to go to hell, and the ones that go to heaven are going to heaven. So whatever, they're good. The bad ones, well, it's actually probably better that they were never born. I mean, maybe we should tie a millstone around their neck while we're at it. I mean, it seems like abortion's bad because people could have not done it and ought not have done it. And that God would say, you know, I didn't command it or decree it. And it didn't even come to my mind. I bet you that's what God thinks about it. And he actually means he didn't decree it. It doesn't mean when it says I decree it, I didn't even decree it or come to mind. If that is a figure of speech, I know it doesn't mean he did decree it. Because that would be the exact opposite. And you guys should have been arguing for sarcasm the whole time. I don't care. Let the text speak. He didn't decree it. Okay? Didn't decree it. It doesn't mean he actually decreed it. Look, if your theology makes it so you can take the text and say it means the exact opposite ultimately, if God wanted me to think he decrees every last thing, he wouldn't have had he wouldn't say God speaking, I didn't decree it. If theology actually means, oh, no, don't let the Bible fool you, he really did decree it. That's garbage, dude. Garbage. Stupid. It's wrong. It's obviously wrong. I love you. I love Calvinists. I appreciate Calvinists. Some of my best friends that are Christians are Calvinists. They played a vital and crucial role in the history of the Protestant Reformation. They keep God's sovereignty to the forefront, which is needed. They understand the law and gospel distinction. They brought us justification by faith in large part. They're largely, or the majority of those responsible for bringing us justification by faith. The true faith is Calvinism. But you also brought us Universalists and OSAS, non-Calvinist OSAS, and Free Grace eventually. But that's not your fault, really, totally, right? I mean, Adventists brought you, what's one of our derivatives? Oh yeah, Waco. So, but still, God didn't decree it. Stop calling God evil. You stop that. It's stupid. You know it's wrong in your heart. Just move on. God bless.